Happy Comic Book Day, and thank you to Bad Mary for that too sweet playing. Welcome all you four-color funny book aficionados. This is U.S. Comics Cast, Chapter 2, Episode 7. 2 topics, 60 minutes for the people. I'm John Rivera, the CEO and co-founder of U.S. Comics.
And that makes me the COO and producer and co-creator of U.S. Comics, Charlie, the youngest 36-year-old on the planet Rivera.
Boo.
We are days removed from the birth of your favorite podcast host, and all I can ask,
come on, the holiday's done.
my dear brother,
Sir,
happy Comic Book Day to you, my friend.
happy Comic Book Day to you, but that is in no way a question. How are you this fine Comic Book Day, son?
I'm fantastic. I have to be honest. I had the perfect birthday, which if you guys need the formula, pandemic or no pandemic, you, for the most part, just leave me alone. Give me like 3 or 4 of my favorite people. Give me some delicious pizza. Give me an egg sandwich in the morning, and I am good to go. So I return it to you, my friend, because I'm still riding that
man of simple tastes.
Exactly, and I'm riding that birthday happiness all throughout the week. How are you doing?
Carbohydrate pony. I'm good, man. You know, just sitting here doing what I'm doing, kind of getting back into the flow of things. Obviously, we put the holiday behind us, and now we're just like, at this point, we're full speed ahead to spring training. So I'm just anxiously watching the clock, seeing when pitches and catches report, because that's really the next hurdle that I have to leap.
I dig it. I see. Very similarly, and don't get me wrong, I love my Mets, I love my Giants, I love my Rangers, but even more than that, I do love this world that we've thrust ourselves into. So much so, I this week I was very, very reminded of my nerd roots. Right after VHS, right on the kind of day one of DVDs, I remember there was a lot of talk about people just being like, who cares about so widescreen, schmidescreen. It was never the picture format. I never had a good enough eye to really appreciate, like, oh, we're getting what's going on the sides. I'm like, I don't care. What I did love about DVDs back in the day, it's finally coming back into the pop culture zeitgeist in a big way. My favorite thing on old DVDs were things like director commentaries.
Even like the over tracks.
Yeah, but more than even that, gun to my head, what's my favorite thing about, just other than your headset exploding? It just full on explode. My favorite thing about DVDs were the special features. More than anything else, it was the side stuff. If you called it a special feature, a behind the scenes bit of footage, seeing auditions,
had Charlie's money. He was like,
yeah, and when they started being like 2 discs, I was like, well, cool, you jets, you come with full screen, widescreen, director's commentary, and freaking like this behind the scenes look, these mini documentaries. And in Kevin Smith's films, there would sometimes be like hour and a half. Like every day, you would see a little bit of the production.
Well, it's 2 movies with the Kevin Smith disc speak, literally, because you're getting like the full length movie, and then you're getting a full length movie and a half length documentary about the making of what we had for lunch that day. That's just good, solid material. It's hours of entertainment,
and that's like when I'm invested in these worlds, Ghostbusters, Star Wars. When these worlds are so important to me, I want to know everything. I want to know the first pitch meeting. So what was amazing is a man who we worship at the altar of, Jon Favreau, used to have an amazing show where he would sit around with different directors or actors and just, what's that?
Chef, you talking about?
No, not just Chef, but the man behind Chef and the man behind.
I know that was a joke.
Didn't land well.
Look behind you, buddy.
How dare you? But what's really cool is The Mandalorian kind of did that. Specifically with season 1, they had this really amazing behind the scenes stories being told. But The Mandalorian, and season 2 was lesser because of COVID, But finally, Marvel has kind of used that, I suppose. And they announced this week Avengers Assembled.
Yes.
It's a docu-series about all of the films. They could do an episode of film and they need like 30 episodes.
Yeah,
I am
for sure.
so excited. This,
Yeah.
when you talk about all the the Disney Plus shows, everyone's like, "Oh, we're gonna see. Maybe we'll see Nebula." Like, you know what? As awesome as that is, and as absolutely I would show up for it. This is the thing I want to hear about that meeting.
Yeah, I gotta say, as a spectator of your excitement level, you are geeked up to a point that even surprises me. And I have been witness to multiple geek outs on your pout. Holy
It's true.
shit.
It's, you know,
Wow.
there's just something, just from the anecdotal stories I know about these films.
Yeah.
I can't wait. And I don't think they'll dive into a ton of the drama, but there's some stuff you can't avoid. There have been 2 actors to play War Machine. You almost have to at least
Right.
mention that.
Well,
And
here's the thing. If I could just interject,
please, otherwise I'll never stop. Clearly, I'm just gushing.
It's like you're just going on and on about He-Man or something like that. It's ridiculous. Come on, bro.
It's not
Nobody's
my
got
topic,
time for that. But yeah, no. From what I understood about the reading of the upcoming assembled series, is that it's really going to pick up with WandaVision, because it's going to be a little bit more introspective than even the Kevin Smith-esque entries into this format. So it's really going to be like almost a page for page. This is how we did this, and this is what we were thinking of when we did that, like the round table mentality. So more so than kind of the prior entries that we've gotten into the Marvel universe. Because look, if you're talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Marvel has an established TV presence for many years before Disney Plus. Now, they were mostly stinkers, so they're not going to bore us to tears. Well, this didn't work and you hated this. Nobody watched this. Like all of that content doesn't need to be aired.
So there's not going to be an episode on the Inhumans?
There is not an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. need not apply.
Oh,
they don't need to
update
their IMDb page with we were assembled. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. No, but again, from what I understand, it's going to be WandaVision moving forward, because it's really going to be that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's going to be really be that real nuts and bolts of
That's awesome.
you know, the point of the scene, so to speak, and what their intention was, you know, in crafting the particular episode and moment. Which, truth be told, now that I'm hearing myself say it, I've almost talked myself into it, because what better way to go into all of that real insider view than WandaVision? I mean, there are people who still now are 6 episodes deep and like, wait, what happened in episode 2? Why now? And the who and the what now? So
yeah.
it's a good, especially because they'll air after the season has wrapped up, like the Mandalorian did as well. So it's perfect. So you'll be able to consume the entire season proper. Then you're gonna have this second the second DVD, the second Blu-ray.
It kind of changes my third rewatch, because as of right now, I have my heart really set on the minute I see that finale, I'm going to live in it for like the rest of the day.
Sure.
I'm probably going to try to watch it twice. Allegedly, the last couple episodes are an hour long,
They are,
which I'm so excited for. With that being said, I usually watch the episodes when they come out. I usually watch them twice. I watch them that first time, then the second time I watch them being like, did they say kick-ass? Because both actors who play Quicks, like that's the kind of more
said
fun.
It twice.
Yeah, but now what I want to do when the series is behind me, you know, Jess and I are going to sit down and rewatch all of it. But I've kind of already said to myself, like, I'm not going to rewatch episode 1 and 2. Just because I don't, as of right now, it doesn't feel.
Could be missing stuff, brother.
I'm
Could
sure.
be missing stuff.
But what's going to be exciting is then if I get to watch the assembled on it, then I get to go back that third time and really like, they said that the grip in the scene dropped
You're
his
just
coffee.
gonna tie the napkin around your neck,
Just
pick up the knife and fork and just rub them together, just ready to consume every little detail.
I mean, I feel like
Every
the one
piddling jot.
thing that this era include, I think COVID hasn't helped it, but a lot of stuff is so it's you're kind of always looking for the next fix of what to do. And in a world where we like can't see each other, you and I have very limited interactions. I feel like a lot of stuff like comes and goes without a third thought. And the cool thing WandaVision has done is it kind of forces you to be like, you get one a week now, Charlie. You can't eat a sleeve of Girl Scout cookies. You're allowed one a day. So there is kind of something cool about getting to live in it. But like all things, if it's popular, I'm sure they'll go back, because the one very odd thing about Disney movies, the Disney Marvel movies specifically, is they have a lot of bonus features, but
Sure.
not the ones that necessarily I'm interested in. There's a
Oh,
lot of like,
really?
oh, look how interesting this VFX stuff. I love amazing special effects and even crappy special effects. I'm a product of what brought me to the show, 80s and 90s, movies and television. There's something that I've never been satisfied by, like, oh, the way that we recorded the HUD shot for Iron Man was, I'm like, blah, blah, boring.
Oh, you're kidding me.
The one
Oh,
that,
the technical aspects of the Star Wars, the Mandalorian kind of behind the scenes.
well,
That's even
that's
that might
different
be the
because
most
that's
fascinating thing.
that's so beyond, like, that's the exception that proves the rule. It's so
That's the exception
beyond
that
it.
proves Charlie wrong.
Or like, it's weird because the digital effects do a lot less to fascinate me than like practical effects, because then they're talking about like how they made Nebula blue, and I'm like, this, I would watch a series about spray
Again,
painting her.
conversely, the way Mandalorian did more so of the practical effects and the visualization, which is the reason why, and we talk about this here almost incessantly, but it's very much the reason why Mandalorian feels right. It feels like Star Wars, and it looks like Star Wars, even though they are, they are they're digitally creating so much
Yeah.
of what we're seeing, but it's still, look, it's like the Matrix. You plug me in. If I could taste it, if I could smell it, if I could feel it, it may as well be real, baby. Leave me plugged in.
We're on record. We'd be Cypher. We wouldn't
Oh
be
yeah,
Leo.
yeah,
We'd be like,
yeah.
You can plug me back in. Plug me back in. I miss chocolate. Make me fit
I would
always,
be
though.
move over, Cypher. Here comes something leaner and with better hair. Old bastard.
You would rat out Cypher just so you could take the deal.
Oh,
This
yeah.
motherfucker ain't with us, bro. But
Or I would spoon him and be like, get in his pod with just surrounded by pink sludge, smile on my face. I don't
I
even care.
love just those SpaghettiOs. The other side of this Marvel assembled gimmick,
Yeah.
what it always leads to is it leads to like YouTube channels and YouTube documentarians doing like the unofficial version. Like, because there will be someone that's like,
Are you
well,
calling your shot?
I wish I wish
Stay
I had
tuned for another
I-
episode of
I-
Charlie.
I wish I had the research time that these people pour into their work, because some of it is just absolutely crazy. Like, I'm dying to know what happened with that original Ant-Man script. One day, sooner than later, it's going to get released, and I'm going to get to like read it or speculate on it or imagine what it would have done or how it would have fit in. That's like, geek culture has this whole other thing where I fell deep down the He-Man tunnel after last week's episode.
You are
I've
very
watched-
welcome, sir.
I've watched like 100 hours of like how they made the He-Man Classics line. I've done all sorts of research on the new toy line. There's rumor and innuendo about Kevin Smith's He-Man Revelations getting a different toy line. And I, again, not to dive too deep into it
Too late.
now,
Too
but
late.
I literally reached out to you to be like, I figured out the toy line. Like, we haven't published yet.
Like, oh, the hypothetical toy line for the comic that we have yet to go to print on. Cool.
There's plenty of other stuff on the to-do list that I would actually help the product.
And I'm like
instead,
crying, tears streaming down my face. Oh, it's
you're
too
out of
much to
tears. It's
do.
just like little puffs of air.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you get for being talented in a different way than I am. But I am fully prepared. But it leads me to ask you this. So now that
Yes.
Marvel Assembled
Real
is
quick,
on,
because you're almost pulling a He-Man right now.
the fact that they now have kind of opened up this Pandora's box,
Yeah.
Is there a specific Marvel movie or Marvel TV show, even if it was announced, that you're just like dying to get inside baseball on, or does it not really resonate that way for you?
No, 100% it does. I mean, and then the thing about it is, it's one of those mathematical equations where the more that I love the showstopper, right, the main event, the more that I'm gonna want to peek behind the curtain and be like, how they do that
Yeah.
aspect of it. So yeah, of course, I'm very much, very much interested in the how they do that
Which
aspect of it
movie?
all.
Which movie
Um,
makes you like the
that's
most
upcoming, or
curious?
that's already been done.
Of either of
Well,
something that's
well,
going to come out, or
right. Yeah, I mean, truth be told, specifically the Black Panther world, the Wakanda world, that's going to further be examined in the
Mhm.
ongoing series. I'm very much looking forward to see the inner workings for a few reasons. Morbid curiosity for certain, because I particularly do like the way that they're going with that part of the storytelling in the Marvel Extended Universe, but also we haven't really seen that
Mm.
anywhere. Never forget about Disney. We haven't really seen it on H. I mean, HBO is dabbling in it. You know, Lovecraft Country just did a very good
Oh
job of
man,
inside view.
so
And it's
good.
you know, when you're talking about a different experience than your own, then that's what piques my personal interest just as much as I can't wait for like some kind of Latin American
Oh yeah,
Latinx type you know, infusion of entertainment to hit for the general population. That's something that I'm familiar with already, so in a circumstance like that I might even be less likely to sit back and kind of watch, because it's like being in class already knowing the
yeah.
source of material that's being covered. So like, move on already, let's go. I may be more interested in something like, again, the ongoing Wakanda series. Well, what about
Yeah.
you?
For me, the big thing I would love is, even if it was just like an in-depth interview with Paul Feig about the Netflix shows. I would love to
Okay,
know, because those were, they weren't his, but they were in
right.
his, they literally went in his backyard to play with toys he wasn't
Yeah,
using.
well, he lent out toys so they could play, and he
And they
watched them.
literally like reference stuff he did.
Yeah,
And I always wondered if ever there was a moment where he was like, I fucked up. I could really use a Punisher right now. I could really use a Jessica Jones. Like that's, and honestly, it could even be a sit down interview of like, did you even watch? Like, if it was me and it was something so close to the work I was doing and getting praised for, I would watch with such a like, why would they do? I would
right.
be delirious and besides myself, calling you, be like, you see what they fucking did with Luke Cage? He's not supposed to have a suit yet. That's for my, like, I would just love to know if there was any version of him like panicked about it, or if he was
Right.
just too fucking busy to notice.
Like to
So
see if
then
he
when,
was like a helicopter parent, or if it was
yeah,
more like they were latchkey kids and they were just fended for themselves. I mean, one has to wonder, because the end results were so wildly different.
yeah,
You have to wonder like how hands on, how much oversight did they get? That's interesting. I do have to tell you this, and it's maybe just because I know you so well personally. This sounds more so like a, this is the interview I wanted to conduct with the guy. So whoever can make it happen,
I
Captain.
would, I specifically want to do like the John Favreau, like, let's go to a nice restaurant. Let's have a meal and chit chat so that you're nice and full and you had a couple
All
cocktails. And then I want
satiated.
to ask the most like, so when people were pissed about Black Widow being in a sky suit, like what, like those are of course the nerdy questions. As much as I would love to pretend I would just sit there and gush over his body work, instead it would wind up accusatory. Be like, why not Matt Murdock? Why not his time? But with all that said, John,
Charlie's just dying to get into a fight with the guy.
I think it's time to start the show. But there is one very special way we start every show,
Oh
and that,
yeah.
of course, is Han shot first.
Han shot first, man. There's no doubt about it. Put him up, baby.
Woo!
Mm.
Woo!
I poured that tall because it was a double gumper. Oh my god.
My friend, you
Oops.
are first today. Let me know when you're ready for your
Yes, I
clock.
am. You can start my clock. I dropped my shot glass. Hold on.
Nice. I'm petrified
Go
that this is
ahead.
going to be a prop.
Let me just pick that up real
I
quick.
feel like a prop's coming. I'm very nervous about how long
Did it
you've been
roll
gone.
under the desk? What happened here?
This is very shtick happening right now.
And you know it.
For those of you just listening to the podcast, John has busted out a very MJF style scarf.
Come on, music. Come on, music. Ladies and gentlemen, unless you are deaf, dumb, blind, or distracted, you already know my name is John Raymond Jacob Rivera, the plant-based picaroon, and I am the fastest rising star in the history of professional comic book podcasting. But for this segment, you can just call me JRJR. And I am joined by my best friend, my biological brother, my protege, the Long Island Lothario, the Puerto Rican Reaper, the Charlentines Day Cupid, and the oldest 35-year-old summer bitch in the business. He's better than you, and you know it. Happy official belated birthday, Charlie.
Thank you. This was
Yes.
this
Boy,
has
oh
been
boy. I could not move you along fast enough where you're like, woo, my birthday, everybody celebrate me. You needy bastard. Holy
It's
shit.
true.
Oh,
It's true.
I couldn't get through it fast enough. I'm like, okay, let's go. Then you went on to rant for 20 minutes on like just a casual topic. I'm like, look, you're lucky I'm not cutting your topic. It's only because of your very recent birthday that I'm going to allow you to actually have a full topic later on in the show. But I have to say, and begrudgingly, I have to admit that it was Charlie who helped me see the light. As a child of the 80s, I grew up in the Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Randy Savage, Andre the Giant era of the game. So anything that came along after the fact to me was going to be. Now it took a little bubbling Charlie. He wanted to borrow my clothes first. Then he wanted to borrow the cologne. And then he thought he was going to tell me what I needed to be watching. But he was just tugging. John, oh, you little pant leg. Ooh. Granted, he was taller than me already at 6 years old. But that's not the point. He said, John, you have to watch this new era of wrestling. The Attitude Era, if you will. And I said, if it'll shut you up for 5 fucking minutes, okay, I will watch it. And dadgummit, Charlie was right. You don't hear those words coming out of my mouth way too often, but in this case,
Or anyone.
Charlie was right. It was the era of The Rock. It was the era of Stone Cold. It was the era of the milk-feedingest American hero that you've ever had. The champion, the Olympic gold medal winning with the neck broken, Kurt motherfucking Angle. And Charlie was right. It was a new era. For me, wrestling was reborn. But you know, though, nothing lasts forever, Charlie.
It's true.
Nothing lasts forever.
It's damn
And
true.
slowly but surely, I started edging away from it. But you know what, Charlie, because he loves me and he respects me, and frankly, he's sometimes lonely, he dragged me back in. And he said, John, there's some new shit, son. There's some new stuff. This is the indie circuit. They're doing all kinds of crazy shit that you've never thought of. And you know what? Charlie was right yet again. He shocked the pundits. He shook off statistics. He said, I am going to get 2 in a row. Two times in a row. And Charlie was right. He was right. Not just handsome, but apparently very smart too. So this new era, and we find ourselves currently in it. You'll often hear him babbling on about new wrestling promotions that you've never heard of, and he is completely justified to doing so. But Charlie, you know what really kind of gave my undercarriage a bit of a how's your father? It's the fact that it's not just you that seems to know the secret. Wrestlers are everywhere.
It's true. That's
They
that's
are
a fact.
everywhere right now. And if you wanted just to if you wanted just to look at the accomplishments of somebody like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, you could literally sit down on your couch and watch multiple Rocky projects. Like you could marathon Rocky shit
It's
at
true.
this point. He has a new series, the young Rock, where he's kind of like doing a Chris Rock scenario, and it's stories from his real life and this and that.
Fanny pack and all.
I mean, but the
Those
turtleneck
promos
with
have
the
been amazing.
chain.
Yes.
If you just look at the comic book movies, though, you see wrestlers everywhere. If you look at, the Mandalorian has them. What's
Sasha
her face?
Banks.
Sasha Banks. She's in Mandalorian. You have you've got wrestlers in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Dave Bautista.
You've got wrestler. I mean, you have wrestlers every damn place. So my question to you, Charlie, because I don't want to pull He-Man and go on and on until the goal sounds. My question to you, Charlie, is thus far, running the full gamut of the wrestlers taking over entertainment, what thus far has been your favorite? Or we'll go through a few of them. This is a Charlie centric. This is actually your last gift. We're allowed to talk about wrestling on a comic book podcast. Let's go over some of the notable wrestlers that have shown up in our comic book properties.
For me, the first one that was like it blew my socks off. It wasn't Dwayne, although he had many at bats, and I believe was the other half of this cameo. But The Rock and Lita made an appearance on Star Trek Voyager, which was like Star Trek's one of those franchises that I like from a distance. I don't have the little like lapel, like boop, boop, beam my ass up. But the minute you threw in Space Lita and they added like gills to Dwayne The Rock Johnson, I was in. And ever since then, there's been these cameos are sometimes my favorite. Rock in The Mummy Returns, and then of course Scorpion King.
Far more than cameos.
Well,
they're taking like star freaking turns. John Cena, which give him credit. Give him credit. He's not my favorite wrestler, to say the least. That's the softest way that I can say that.
Yeah.
Just in case, God forbid, he hears this and comes knocking on my door. But not only does he have a pivotal role in the upcoming movie, but if my ears are not
Suicide Squad,
yeah, I mean he's gonna have a spin-off.
Yeah, he's getting a series on
That
HBO
is
Max.
Unbelievable.
I think it's Here Comes Peacemaker. And
that's amazing.
What's really kind of cool about specifically the John Cena as Peacemaker, this character is clearly spinning out of a movie that's the least John Cena shit that's ever existed. And he even described it, and it was the first time ever that I was like, oh, wait, maybe this guy can give me content that I like really not
make me like
I respect
you. You're
his wrestling.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
You're everywhere.
My eyes rolled when he was going to show up in Fast and Furious. When I heard he was going to be in Suicide Squad, I was like, fuck, I hope his head explodes. But
were you afraid that John Cena would ruin the masterwork that is Fast and the Furious?
Yes. I was also afraid he would ruin Suicide Squad, which arguably first one stunk. But he describes Peacemaker exactly how I'd want him to, and he's like, imagine Captain America if he was an asshole. And I was like, John Cena's an asshole.
Yeah.
The fucking thugonomics are back. That's when I personally find it when a character is so not their wrestling persona. So like all the Marine movies can go kick rocks. Sorry, Miz.
Yeah,
sorry, John Moxley. Those all like they're so generic to me, but when Sasha Banks shows up as a fucking Mandalorian,
and even debatably something like that is besides the fact that it happened like in space, she wasn't so far off of character. She's like a badass, but Stone Cold showing up in the whole 9 yards, like that's the type of stuff where you like. You can't help but start rooting for a wrestler who maybe you didn't root for. I mean, or even somebody like a passing, a passing fleeting moment on the big screen. When you saw Kevin Nash in one of the 57 Punishers that they attempted to do, like,
Yeah.
and he was rocking like the sharp blonde flat top. You're like, oh God, I kind of do want to see you get your ass kicked right now,
You're like,
but
damn, Diesel. What's fucking cooking? Also, Kevin Nash, probably my second favorite cameo ever, or not. I guess it's still a cameo. Motherfucking Super Shredder in Secret of the Ooze.
Listen,
He's
it
the
all
man
kind of-
behind them
it all kind-
prosthetics.
dude, if you want to throw it all the way back, well, for me, all the way
Oh,
back.
maybe the best cameo of all time.
Well, again,
I mean-
cameo is strong.
And
Jesse
Star.
fucking Ventura
Oh,
popping up in Predator.
absolutely. You know
Like,
where I thought
that
you
is-
were. You know where I thought you were going, because
I
Jesse
think I
Ventura,
do.
a badass being badass, and they want the peanut. The the man.
It's not my fault being bigger and stronger. I could kill you now.
Like that's
That's
and-
got to be the king of the hill wrestler showing up and dominating
absolutely
the screen. I mean, here's the thing too. Like, you have basically an 8 foot tall, 500 pound person saying, like, he stole the scene. He could steal whatever he wanted and stay on site and wait for the cops to come. He wouldn't care.
Yeah.
He's like, well,
Cops
that's
aren't
fine."
going to do shit. He'd throw a boulder at them. But all those, even you think of, again, talking about things that one day will make amazing documentaries. You look at even someone who never in the WWE system, never made it past upper mid card. You look at Cody Rhodes, the grandson of a plumber, the main face of now AEW.
Right.
He did a couple
Owner.
guest spots on Arrow. And
Yeah.
he played a recurring bad guy, but not recurring like Lionel Luthor kept showing up in Smallville. I think he has maybe 3 episodes to his credit. Built a good enough relationship with that team that they wanted to keep using him. Built a good enough relationship with the star of Arrow.
Well, here's the
that-
thing. These are athletes first.
Yeah.
Right. We don't want to describe things incorrectly. Actors, working actors, when they put together their theatrical or cinematic TV resumes, they always wrap it up with special skills. Right. Oh, I can fence. I can ride a horse.
Yeah.
I've got a valid license. Things like that. Wrestlers, on the other hand, their special skills start. They're like, oh, I could do a 5-star frog splash off the 19th rope, top of the cage. Like,
Exactly.
This is all the physicality stuff comes first, and then afterwards, oh, I studied at Juilliard, and I was a fine fellow over at Oxblood Academy. So when you have these particular wrestlers that have another gear that they're able to, that it's not just the physicality. So for example, when I was doing my little research for this topic, again, this is a gift. Wrap it up. Put another pink bow on it for you, Charlie.
Done.
Somebody like Nathan Jones,
Yes.
who was galactically underused, ill-used in his professional wrestling career. He is literally a mountain that has to be dealt with in Troy. And even just him sitting there, like, my eyebrow went up. I'm like, I don't know, Brad Pitt, you better not. That's Nathan Jones. He's gonna straight up fuck you up. Tyler Mane
Yes.
as Sabretooth.
Yep.
These are not forgettable passing cameos. These aren't Super Shredder scenarios. These are like co-star level.
Yeah,
It's
these guys
just
had
unbelievable.
to do this end.
Yeah.
You're physical as hell. You're gonna toss around Logan here. Also, as well as, like, we gotta believe.
Don't kill him though.
Yeah. We gotta believe what you're doing. Even, I mean, that's a great example too, because that's not, you don't necessarily need for that version of Sabretooth the world's greatest actor, but the guy can't show up and not fucking act.
Well,
He
that's the
can't
thing.
just
You,
be like,
you don't
"Where's
want
my
him to
spot?"
embarrass himself.
Yeah.
Now here's where we'll wrap it up. So that being said, and having this plethora of options coming our way, whether it's now the extended Marvel universe, kind of like, opening up doors to new talent, all
Yeah.
over the place because you still have your features. Now you have series,
Goddamn, everyone's been in
and
those
you
movies. at
have
this point.
more and more and more roles that need to be filled. And look, I love him. He's America's ass, the whole 9 yards. Chris Evans can't play every fucking character.
Although
So
he tried.
I mean, look, he's
tried.
got a good agent. I'll ask you this, Charlie.
Yeah.
What wrestler that's out there right now killing it, stone cold killing it, like you bought 2 versions of their t-shirt just so you could cut the sleeves off of one? Who do you want to see get a shot in that capacity? Who do you want to see, and how would you like to see him?
That's a fucking amazing question.
It is a
And
good question.
and
I
I
know.
love it. From New Japan, I think Tama Tonga is so entertaining. I would love to see him in a comedy. I think if you point this guy at like the funny strong guy in a group, like if you did a Hangover type movie
Uh-huh.
where you had a couple strong actors to go with him, I think Tama Tonga is funny as hell,
So do
witty
you,
as hell.
you don't have any specific property that
specific
you'd like to plug him
property?
into? Yeah, I mean, look, there's
That's a great question. I love that
it's
question.
a good point. It's a good,
Um,
it's a good point.
You,
I agree. I am pretty smart and
You
great.
know, I'll double back to Tama because the one that's now popping in the front of my head is, because of COVID, largely Netflix wound up canceling Glow. Chavo Guerrero, famously Eddie Guerrero's brother. I'm sorry, his nephew, I believe, felt like a brother at times. And Carlito Colon of the Colon family and of WWE very recently.
Carlito.
They play 2 brothers of one of the main women. So if they had to do a smaller cast, like movie with that group, that family, I think that would be absolutely amazing. For Tama, I would love him in any sort of buddy cop movie. I know Rock was already in one, but the other guys, if you wanted to do a sequel to the other guys without Will Ferrell and without, our boy from one of the best boy bands, I guess, ever. His name currently eludes Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. What's his name? What's his last name?
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg.
You had like half of it.
I could only remember Marky Mark. I know.
I can only picture him in his underwear.
Well, it's.
I don't worry about you, man.
As you should. You said America's ass. It has me all.
I meant your memory. I don't care what you do with your own time. No, I hear what you're saying, but I really wanted to sync. I wanted you rather as the pivotal wrestling nerd as you are.
Yeah.
I wanted you to get real specific, so I'll throw out an example. Give you a little,
yes, please,
a little pea brain, a little time to
I think
circulate.
I have one.
I hope so. Because again, set your boy up and he just on stage.
I'm like,
as
we
the
played
scarf
softball.
wearing fellow would tell you himself, there is literally nothing that Maxwell Jacob Friedman can't do. There is nothing at all.
That's
and
true.
His attitude would also parlay so well into my inevitable requested Kingdom Come adaptation. Tell me that you cannot see in your mind's eye, close your eyes and picture it, MJ motherfucking F as Magog. What?
That's
What?
pretty perfect.
Are you kidding me?
That's pretty perfect.
Are you kidding me? Now, here's the thing: outside of the wrestling world, and maybe Long Island, New York, nobody really knows who MJF is.
Yeah,
maybe they have
not
one little
yet.
goofy Charlie tugging
yet.
at their pant legs like I did. Say, oh, you gotta watch! Check out these YouTube clips.
Watch
oh,
him
MJF
insult
is
everyone."
so funny. He hates everybody. And then you sit there and you're like, oh, he's a fucking dick. And before you even finish the thought, you are laughing because he is so good at what he does. He'll be the
brutal.
first to tell you.
He's brutal.
Him as Magog would be perfect. The swagger, the I'm better than you, Superman, and you know it attitude is as perfect as it gets.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about myself in this stylish scarf and matching chapeau. No, I'm talking about my casting and project. It's perfect. I got
See,
another one in the tank if you're not ready.
And I have to say
I'm still in character, by the way.
I think your MJF casting was perfect. I actually thought if when they eventually do their DC relaunch, he'd also make a wonderful Max Lord.
Oh my God! Here we
Like,
go.
he
So
would-
I give you every character in the
I'm
universe.
not done. I'm just
Every
saying.
wrestler out there, you're
I'm
like,
just
you know
saying
who else he
what
could
popped
play?
in my head, you bastard.
Oh my God!
I also think, and I
Fucking guy.
could probably, if you give me another week, I could probably cast everyone. But if you gave me one property, I could do the property plus AEW and almost net you the entire cast, because AEW could put together a monster of a Street Fighter movie. Kenny
Street Fighter?
Omega as Ken would be fucking awesome.
That would be pretty
You
good.
have Akara Shida could play Chung Lee. You could have Cody Rhodes play a version of Guile. That would just take me all the way where I need to be. Take the video game Guile, mix him with a little Jean-Claude Van Damme Guile, and you kind of get a Cody Rhodes Guile.
Why
And
do
you
you
don't
have
even need a fake
an
tattoo.
American
He has
tattoo
that
on your
American
arm
tat on his neck.
and a goofy, a goofy accent to go along with it makes no sense whatsoever.
It's the greatest.
You know
but
what?
I
You're doing
honestly,
the entire promotion.
yeah.
I would bring it down to like pitchable. Think about the elevator pitches.
Yes.
And this is actually something that we discussed. Jason Momoa,
Yeah.
I feel, was not wasted. Wasted's a very strong word.
Misused.
He could have been used better as Lobo
Oh.
than jamming the square peg of Jason Momoa into the round, soft, fleshy hole of Aquaman. But
God.
kind of like a spoiled whale's blowhole. So I desperately still want to see Lobo. But then I started thinking, if we can't obviously have Momoa, why not Roman Reigns
Oh my gosh, yeah.
as Lobo? That is dynamic, because here's the thing. Just like from a wrestling point of view, I think most of us can agree, and actually pretty much everybody over in corporate at WWE would agree. They just don't fucking know what to do with this guy.
Yeah.
He's got a great look. He can do it all. He's got the lineage. He's got the genealogies, I should say. He would pick up the ball, so to speak, the proverbial ball of my man Lobo, and he would run with it. The worst part about it is you would have, very much like his cousin, you would have a situation like Rocky where you're just waving at him goodbye. You're waving at him through the windows of your offices in Connecticut. You better make sure that contract is airtight, because once he blew up as Lobo and the character, here's a situation where not everybody knows him. Like most people would look at him and be like, oh, he kind of looks like Dwayne Johnson. And it's similar to Lobo. They're like, oh, he kind of looks like Dwayne Johnson if he like never went outside.
Yeah.
You have a scenario where much like with Magog, where the people already feel like they know Wonder Woman, they know Batman, they know Captain America, right? So if you plug in kind of like a relatively no name, even if they could do everything physically and they have the chops to pull off the lines, the script, and bring it to life, like you're catching those people unaware.
Yeah.
And that was my point, is like somebody like Dave Bautista, he shocked people who didn't know him. Like they sat back like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
He's great. And he is great.
Yeah, and in that vein, I'm gonna hit you with a couple lightning quick in case you
You
have another
better.
one.
You're trying to get your street cred back real quick. I get it. The
I
indie
would-
shows are no joke.
I would love Brandy Rose could definitely pull off Storm. That would be amazing. But in that same X-Men movie, I think John Moxley would be such a great Wolverine. I really think he has that like go fuck yourself energy just irradiating off of him.
The problem though, and again, any Wolverine casting for me,
That he's too tall.
is just too fucking tall.
Well,
and actually, it's funny because wrestling in and of itself has the same problem. It doesn't make a difference if you have a 7-foot wrestler. If he's wrestling another 7, proportionally, they just look like two guys fighting. Granted, the ring is smaller.
Yeah.
You're like, why are those two guys fighting in like a shopping cart at Target? What the hell's going on?
The other one I like can see that would be absolutely no one would go to the movie because of this guy's name. So it's another ensemble piece. But there's a wrestler, Marco Stunt. He's like 2'3". He has this wild giant hair, but he is an enigmatic some bitch. And you can kind of throw him around wherever you want. He'd be an amazing Beast Boy. He would be this like,
Oh,
he's just awesome for it, and he looks forever young. So putting him on like a teen team just fits perfectly.
Yeah,
And
say
and honestly, with WWE, like you said it, they are kind of a factory that just makes these people who almost, the thing they come with is the wrestling skill. The thing they leave with is kind of the acting chops to at least pull it off. So you're right. It's always kind of dangerous knowing that they could kind of be pulled into the Hollywood system. Sasha Banks is a woman who's accomplished everything that she could possibly have wanted
quickly, man.
to
Quickly.
accomplish. So if you told me they were doing like, we're doing a Mandalorian series, come on, Sasha, come film with us for 6 months, I'm pretty sure she's going to be like, please, because
Bye.
yeah, it's like, yeah, Sasha Banks is WWE property, but if you notice in those Star Wars credits, it's not credited as Sasha Banks from WWE. It's you know, I think her name is Mercedes or something.
Dude, when
equally awesome.
we were going over the catching wrestlers in like unexpected places, dude, when I'm sitting back and I got my arms behind my head, feet up, and I'm watching Vikings, like, stupid Vikings, you can't sail to Paris. Oh, you can sail to Paris. Oh, how dumb of me.
All of a sudden,
and then
smoke
all of a
goes up.
sudden-
You think you know me? You think you know me? And Edge comes running
Edge
out.
just comes strolling into frame. And he shoots an Edge score.
He's a Canadian, so he'll appreciate that. That was awesome and
Yeah,
unexpected,
it was.
and absolutely a birthday gift. And I loved
Happy birthday.
every minute. But sincerely, expect me to post fan art soon of my full on.
Oh my
I
God.
could cast the entirety of Street Fighter with
Wait,
AEW.
I refuse to relinquish my microphone now, much like a run-in job. Charlie, the entire impetus of this concept, this
Oh
moment,
yeah.
Charlie famously here in the US Comics offices, Charlie tagged a wrestler, cast him.
Oh,
ahead of the fact. It led to this entire topic, and Charlie,
you know what? I
left
feel
on the table. He walked away
all
from the table.
ego,
He
Ethan
said,
Page.
"All in." No, I'm
I
good.
honestly, the problem is my real life feels very much like I'm just podcasting all the time. So the man
I
himself,
was like, I already said it. Oh, I did it?
former Impact Tag Team Champion of the World, all ego Ethan Page,
Ethan
who has a phenomenal social media presence. He actually, just talk about people who the problem is I want him in the US Comics movie because this motherfucker has a
Both,
whole,
bro. They do both now.
he has a whole Instagram page dedicated to his figure photography. He is a mountain of muscle.
He is
One
so
of the
bored.
top, he is one of the top 10 free agents in wrestling right now. And motherfucker every day drops 1 or 2 amazing pictures on posed by Julian is the Instagram name. I mean, literally him and I had
Don't
we
you
had
worry.
we had a nice
Where you
chat
sweet
about
little head
the-
about it.
we had a chat about the Power Ranger figures recently because they're just so goddamn fresh. So I apologize.
Cannot
I apologize.
insult him regarding his Power Ranger obsession, but Charlie, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it.
You know what? And I'll do so
Yeah, man.
happily.
Charlie put together a dynamite Photoshop of the man as Booster Gold, and
He'd be so good.
put it out there to the ether. And
You know what's so funny though?
Charlie's completely right.
He's the one that started
Not
the.
so much that Charlie would think of him to kick off the topic that I served him on a silver fucking platter.
I'm the worst.
God
I'm the
damn
worst.
it.
You know what the worst
Tim
part?
Taylor is right.
You know
Everyone's
what's
stupid.
there's a lot of times in my life where I feel like I get in my own way.
Yeah.
So
like now?
I think all ego, I think all ego is a goddamn amazing performer. But also as well as I like he put up an amazing fig photography piece with Nightwing in it. And I wrote something like, "Oh shit, Nightwing's my boy." and just because on social media, sometimes you just want to throw out, like, maybe this person wants to have a Nightwing chat. So I just threw out the question early into his new page, and I asked him, like, oh, who would you cast? And his response, and I don't remember the exact response because I have a terrible memory, but his response was like, ha ha ha, how about me? And then he gave me like who he would actually choose. So I was like, ah, man, no offense. You're not Nightwing. You're too. Why the fuck would I just let them be like, yep,
Charlie.
I'm too honest. So then I felt the need to be like,
after this is over,
be a
this
great
episode is
booster.
over, go right home, hug Jess tight, because you, I hate to be the guy to tell you this,
yep.
you were on a COVID first date with this guy, and you fucking blew it, son. You blew it.
That sounds about right. But I like to
why
lead
not
with,
cast me? Nah, you want to be good for the role, sweetheart. No, we
Yeah,
need somebody different.
I
God,
thought that was
you are
negging.
COVID
Isn't that negging? I've been in a
breakout,
relationship for
bro.
3 years.
Actually,
I forgot how it works.
You're about to get COVID gaslit in a second. You know what, Charlie? He had it coming. You did just fine. You know, you don't want to rush in too much. Who you don't want him to like you like that.
Yeah, that's true. I'm a big fan of lonely social media presence.
Wrap it up. Your birthday's over.
Let's pay some bills. Because just the way I screwed it up with All Ego, I'm probably going to screw up this ad. But one of my favorite bands in all the multiverse is, of course, Bad Mary. You heard them at the beginning of the episode. You're going to hear their brand new release cover at the end of tonight's episode, and it is tight. You can find them on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Bad Mary Band. You can go to their website to buy some stuff off of them. CDs, t-shirts, pins, keychains at badmary.com. You could just throw dollars at them like you're at some fancy COVID safe club at patreon.com/Bad Mary.
Really far.
Exactly. Yeah, it's hard. I put an envelope, I just mail it. My favorite part is you don't have to do any of that stuff. You should, but all you have to do is if you have any streaming music site, you just pop in Bad Mary and they're there for your listening pleasure. This next couple months, they're going to release once a month a brand new cover. Yes. I personally listen to them on Spotify, rather. It makes good listening anytime you need it. That's Bad Mary Band on social media, or if it's easier, throw them money at patreon.com/A Bad Mary.
Word, son. And our other sponsor right here on Facebook Gaming, it is Sergeant Finesse. He's streaming right now. 2 streams a day, outstanding gaming content, supporter games, giveaways, contests. Don't be a sucker. He does not like it, not even a little bit. Check him out today. Throw him a like, throw him a follow. Consider becoming a supporter. If you need to pick me up, follow the White Rabbit down to sneakenergy.com. Use code SGT at checkout. It helps out the stream. Looking for some fresh new gear. Ooh, maybe a scarf to go along with it. Well, you can't find scarves there, but you can find some other cool shit at geeksunleashed.com. Use card Sarge there, because when Sarge is on deck, you salute. Wrap it up, B.
Start my clock, baby. Start my clock.
Oh, gosh.
So all of this, So all of this nerd glory that's been going on lately has had me deep in that social media well, just trying to find out things that won't spoil the movies that we have coming out, but I need to know what the likelihood is that these Spider-Man cameos are going to be more than just a quick glance. Because while I would love that for Keanu Reeves or for these other Spider-Men that are popping up in the next Spider-Man movie, there's one specific cameo that I'm desperate that it just lasts longer, and that's my boy Charlie Cox reprising his role as Daredevil. That well led me to a show that I think the first season admittedly left a ton to be desired, but the second season really started correcting the direction of the ship, and that was Iron Fist.
Empire? Oh, sorry.
How dare you? So
he did not end up well in Boardwalk Empire.
He did not.
What you get? Can't mess with those Irish broads.
That's true. And you know what? Serves him right. But what was really interesting about Iron Fist was the second season of Iron Fist really ended in a very interesting and a very different place. The mantle had been passed on. We started learning about older Iron Fist, and we even ended with Danny Rand being in a much different place. He recently took to social media kind of talking about the plan for what was supposed to be season 3 before their cord was pulled. And a lot of people think, sometimes even myself, that in the case of Iron Fist, maybe that was the right thing to do. It wasn't as heartbreaking as Punisher or Daredevil was. Some people at season 2 still didn't work for them. You're kind of making a face like you got a fart. Were you one of the people that you were like, cancel it, boo?
I don't know if it is this stylish scarf around my
You're
neck.
still in MJF
I
mode,
don't know
JR.
if it just has me in that frame of mind. But in as much as I loved Punisher, the series, I loved Daredevil, I loved Jessica Jones, I loved Luke Cage. I equally hated Iron Fist. I hated it. Now the funny thing is, again, walking in the front door, I came from a place where I heard the casting rumors the same time as everybody else, right? I love this cat in Game of Thrones. I'm like, oh, that's the bee's knees. That's Dynamite. He's got that tight curly cap of hair, looking like looking like the greatest American hero. Like that was the only other project that I was really interested in seeing him do. Believe it or not, I was just in Game of Thrones. But then this little barefoot sucker steps on screen, and Charlie, you simply put, again, the scarf is going to do the talking for me in this segment. You cannot have an Iron Fist that can't fucking fight.
I
am
don't disagree.
sorry. The scripts were not Shakespearean. This was not a situation where you're like, well, the lines are gonna do the talking, do the storytelling. No, they weren't.
There wasn't enough, and also that character. I would argue that character himself almost isn't fundamentally interesting enough to not need every if I was predicting what the Iron Fist Netflix series was going to be, do you remember those epic once a season do you remember those epic once a season Daredevil like single shot type scenes where they tried to make it look like it was one giant take for like 8 minutes? It's like the hallway fight scene, and
of course
I thought
Iron Fist should have been Enter the Badlands.
I genuinely thought that every episode of Iron Fist was going to ensure a scene like that. I thought this was going to be the kind of like show, don't tell series where they're like, yeah, Iron Fist, it's cool. Look at it. I thought his mask all the time, which I was denied for most of the entire 2 seasons. And I thought he was going to whoop some ass. Now, there's that conversation of like, if they spent more time, maybe they could have choreographed it to a point where but they probably should have hired someone ready to go.
A pre-production montage scene where they literally taught him how to fight. They would have needed that like same moment that every Jean-Claude Van Damme movie has, where he trains with like an ancient Asian martial arts master, and he clearly doesn't know. The guy cannot fight. Now the funny thing is, that's not his fault.
No.
Somebody came to me and said, we need to cast you as a fencing master. And I'm like, how much are you going to get paid? Cool. And I'm going to be right there. I can't fence for shit, son. I can't. I would thoroughly embarrass myself. However, I'd be at the bank on Fridays cashing them checks. So
you did. Just fun fact, you shot yourself in the foot because the Addams Family reboot. We're looking at you for Gomez, and you just admitted you can't.
No. This is a hypothetical scenario.
Oh, yeah, because you actually are great at it.
If and when they do cast me, I will learn how to fence before I show up for day one.
And you've played Gomez Addams before.
I've came this close to killing an actual pit musician, IRL. So
I just imagine like
I already have that, dude. Woof! I was literally like pre-planning my sitting in court, like, well, Your Honor, what happened was this.
I had a lot of butter that day. While I
Charlie,
threw
the
this
sword snapped in half. The blade of the sword disconnected from the handle of the sword, and it shot through the air like a freaking Scud missile. Unbelievable.
that is ridiculous. But one thing if Daredevil happens, right? And Daredevil allegedly, and again, it's hard to talk about
Marvel's
rumors that are on top of rumors, but allegedly he's going to be the Daredevil that we very much met. And he's going to come with the kind of pre-packaged backstory. They may not directly reference it, but from what I understand, I agree.
Everyone has seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at this point. We know what happened to
This
him.
little blind bastard upstairs that got the turtles all oozed. With that being said,
Oh, your dad was a boxer named the Devil. Okay,
first of all,
full circle.
you bite your tongue. Bite your fucking tongue.
It's a scarf. It's a
You
scarf.
say what you will about my Lord and
Sorry,
Savior
dude.
Jesus Christ, but you leave Matt and his dad out of this.
Scarf.
You and your prop comedy will be the end of the show. Now, the thing that kind of got me concerned was they started talking very recently in the rumor circles about their Punisher is going to get a whole new backstory, but be played by the Netflix Punisher, which is so weird to me. Like, you're keeping an ingredient and then like changing the meal, which is strange. And
It's
part of
Punisher,
me was,
Charlie. It's Punisher.
That's true.
Now here's my question to you.
Go ahead.
Only because we're circling like the moons of Saturn here. Would you rather retain the backstory established in the Punisher TV show, but recast the actor, or do you want Shane himself to pop right back up?
That's a
and
very
now
good
the extended,
point.
You know,
And
so it's a
that's
fork in
and
the
that's
road.
true.
You
I
can have
just
everything.
I just feel like if you're gonna go that route of keeping certain things, and this is really the question I'm gonna propose to you for this segment,
Right. So
is
you're
like
answering
in
the question
regards,
with a question. Nicely
kind
done.
of. So with that,
lawyers
I
in the house.
learned it from watching you, baby. Something like Iron Fist, which is arguably like a
Terrible.
dirty property now. Like it
Terrible.
needs a refresh that I don't know if the time makes sense. But if you were gonna have another,
Who needs it?
if you
Who's
were gonna
sitting
have
at
another,
home waiting with bated breath
well, but
for the next iteration of Iron Fist?
well,
Happen.
I would love, of course now the character's name eludes me, but the awesome ass kicking, genuinely great at everything she did that took over the mantle of Iron Fist in season 2. If she showed up for like an Avengers type fight as the new Iron Fist, let's fucking roll with it. Like, that would
if you
make me
want to
happy.
roll out Daughters of the Dragon and say like this is what we're gonna go with, and
Yeah.
this is gonna be our takeaway,
And
then
maybe
I'd be
she's
totally fine with that. Now, what's interesting is that to me, at least,
Yeah.
Iron Fist really only works. It was similar to how a creator can take two properties that really are doing less than dick all on their own, smash them together, and
Iron
it
Fist
shouldn't
and Luke
really work.
Cage.
Iron Fist only really seems to Iron Fist, rather. Iron Fist.
Iron Fish is
That's,
actually a
that's,
multiverse version
yes.
of Iron Man.
Yeah, and Aquaman.
It's like a tuna. Chunk.
Iron Man and Aquaman. So
We have art for the show.
done. So, in exactly that same way, Green Lantern and Green Arrow work together and shouldn't. They really shouldn't. Like
They
it
were
was
like, who
one
else
of
do we
those-
have that's green? We got Martian Manhunter, no aliens.
like peanut butter and jelly, everybody realizes, but that first fucking genius that was like, yo, peanut butter and fluff, son. Oh, you think that's good? Or is that the only thing that's left in the cupboard? Yeah, it's all that was left in there. But fuck it. We got bread. Let's
Yeah, it
push them together and see what
turns
happens.
out it was delicious. Well, here's my question then.
Yeah.
We now live in this world where what's old is new again. I mean, the Christopher Reeve, his take on Superman is now going to be a comic series.
Yes.
Much in the vein of like Batman 66 had a decent run as a comic book series.
Yeah, great.
Taking that universe. We have this really awesome option now that the multiverse in Marvel or in DC, as they make changes, these worlds can bring in the stuff that works. So For me, it's obviously Daredevil from the Netflix series. I need him in the MCU. He's my favorite Marvel character. I need him to be part of this
Hold me, Daredevil.
tremendous. Exactly.
Honestly, you might be the only one left that he hasn't stuck it. So
and even that's come close. So some of those books I've read, real intimate, just in a bubble bath. Just
why
Hey,
does this
man.
issue have double polybags on it?
No reason. It's not pregnant, I swear. My question to you then is, who would you want to keep? We're getting to keep Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. He's getting folded in. Who from the previous Marvel movies or Marvel TV are you hoping that they keep for the cinematic side? Or for DC, when this eventually all gets rebooted, who are you hoping comes over or stays on? Who's like the number one in your head right now that you're like, well, this
It's simple for me. It's very simple. And granted, it helps that you're grabbing up certain characters that I definitely do want to see more of, or that the rumor mill has already said, don't worry about this, John. You're taken care of in this capacity. Personally, I felt that kind of like the hierarchy of the Marvel Netflix shows was pretty thoroughly accurate, right? The way that they kind of put the level of importance, Jessica Jones had a ton of airtime,
yeah.
and that's a character that handled wrong could very easily become super boring, and like people could check out. And that did not happen whatsoever. But that being said, specifically from the Jessica Jones series, I need me some more Purple Man.
Ooh.
I need me some more Kilgrave. And the thing about it is, a talent, all world heavy hitter, all star first baseman, 50 home runs a year, even though he don't weigh 150 pounds, not even close. David Tennant in the fucking Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Brilliant.
He is unbelievable. Everything he touches is gold, even if the source material isn't, because I could definitely see how that same exact scripted material in a lesser talent's hands could have come off as real sticky.
And also,
and a lot of the success. Let me just finish my thought.
Please.
A lot of the success from Jessica Jones series was because she had debatably the best villain. Also, I would tag team that with Vincent D'Onofrio.
Absolutely.
You need Vincent D'Onofrio. Now, the odds are, if you're going to get Charlie Cox, we're going to get Vincent D'Onofrio. And Vincent D'Onofrio is probably even more suited to step into the wider world, even if you just leave him as like a borderline Daredevil / Spider-Man character. Man. He's ready to go. Why go back to the drawing board unnecessarily?
And that's something that cinematically we super haven't seen in Kingpin. Even as much as I love David Tennant and Purple Man, and that's an amazing answer, and I want to double back to it real quick, but Kingpin getting to be this Spider-Man and I know that a lot of people really, really love Green Goblin being the kind of foe for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Kingpin, who is a and again, I'm saying this as primarily a Daredevil fan, Kingpin is just a great foil, and he's so fucking dramatic and so much more than just like a plus size Lex Luthor he's been accused of. And if you know the character even a little, not to mention Vincent D'Onofrio literally made such a fucking meal of that part without ever diving into corny. Right. And there's some shit that's right there. It's on Corny Boulevard, and if it makes a left, it's gonna be real fucking shit. And instead, he hooked that hard right into just scary as fuck, and yet reserved and quiet.
And his version of I don't agree with what he's doing, but I get why he's doing it, was maybe one of the best versions of that kind of trope that I've ever fucking seen. Yeah. Than I've ever seen. Like, you really did in those moments where he wasn't actively doing dirt. You legitimately
he's not legitimately like bashing someone's fucking skull in.
Like, he's married to Superman's moms. Like, you got to give the guy a break, man. Come on. Yeah,
I
no,
think
he's
that's
really
great.
dynamite.
With Purple Man,
Yeah.
do you want a day one? Do you want David Tennant to get to start that arc again? Or are you coming on the
No,
like he found a way to survive?
he's just Purple Man. And if comic books can do one thing better than any other
Resurrections.
any other thanks for taking the point. Than anything else, yeah, they bring people back from the dead. As you very actively stole that shit right from my mouth. Appreciate
Just
that.
as you were saying it, plucked it out of your throat hole. That's
Like,
it,
I'll
man.
take that. Jesus Christ.
Sorry, I get excited.
Just literally had tables full of birthday gifts, and my man is a bottomless pit.
That's true.
Give me.
Delicious. You know, I can't help but think of, you know, again, for every like Inhumans, there has been so much like interesting stuff done on these old Marvel properties. And there's some that like Fantastic Four, which is inoffensive. I don't like those movies even.
They were relatively harmless.
What about, and again, I know one that you probably didn't say it just because at this point I feel like you have mentioned it before, but the inevitable Batman Beyond almost has to be Michael Keaton as old man Bruce Wayne. It's like
Absolutely.
that. If that doesn't happen, that is a bucket of money left.
I can't think of literally any other actor who I'd want to see playing old Bruce Wayne over Keaton. Like, there's
a gravitas to it, and if we learned anything from Homecoming, the guy still has every one of his tools is sharp and ready
actors
to go.
are like fine wine; they just keep getting better.
Yeah, it's incredible. Is there anyone on the DC side that you really feel like, well, we have to keep so and so, even if they wound up doing a massive kind of on the other side of the multiverse?
It's interesting because the extended universes, within several years, kind of, at least paced themselves similarly. So DC had to do some catching up, or at least they felt they did, and very much pulled the final season of Game of Thrones and said, "Hurry, hurry, 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 hurry."
Yeah.
But now both DC and Marvel have found themselves in the multiverse zone, which allows them to kind of just pick and choose what they really liked and what worked. I truly feel that at this stage in the game, even though not everybody, for whatever reason, I mean, people are entitled to like or dislike whatever they want. Not everybody seemingly loved Wonder Woman 2. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Electric Boogaloo.
That's me. I don't think that you can replace Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. You just can't do it. I would far more prefer if I had only one actor to keep out of the current extended DC cinematic universe. Make it be her. Make it be her. Now here's the thing.
Answer.
We've already had Flash do the crossover. The movie Flash has come, and DC was kind of first to the table to do that those crossovers. And they
ironically also with the Speedster.
Well, here's the thing: they did it with the TV series. And look, I'll follow my own rules. I'm not going to say they're good or bad. I am not really all in for the DC TV shows. I'm just not. It's not my cup of tea. And I certainly will make fun of them too, Charlie, off air. But I thought it was really neat that they did go down that road. And also, like when you're talking about one actor, two parts, we've already had within the DC world, we've had a single, one actor playing multiple characters in their universe. So for them also, the multiverse is very much a real thing. If I could only keep one, literally one person, it'd be Gal. Make her be the linchpin.
Yeah, my stretches, because I Wonder Woman is, for me, she's undeniable right now. She is kind of the one thing that has probably been best served combining material.
Yeah, because she was even good in the worst movies that she appeared in.
Exactly right.
Never her fault.
She kind of did her thing. if I was to include the TV side, which I very much am, I think Constantine right now, that actor is so
He's a great
fucking
Constantine.
good,
Yes.
and has only been able to really have very, even in his own series, it like wasn't on the CW, so it wasn't originally intended to be part of this bigger universe. And then when he wound up on Legends, he's consistently the best part. I would love for him to get to be part of Justice League Dark, or even if there was a big Avengers type moment in a DC film where these heroes are just showing up, it would be so great to
Yeah.
see him in a big
And if anybody
cinematic
could
way.
just show up, who better than Constantine?
Yeah, and and then part of my heart will always want Brandon Routh, who was Superman in Superman Returns. He also, he got to shrink and play the Atom but more importantly, he also got to play this kind of Kingdom Come-esque Superman. And while I wouldn't want him for a Kingdom Come movie, if it was relegated to just we're showing a bunch of Supermen, I of course would want him to have one more cinematic moment. And my
Bite at the
dream,
apple.
yeah, exactly right, because even the animated Batman has gotten a chance. Rude. Ladies and gentlemen, boys.
No,
and
no,
girls.
no, 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 no. I am not sure if this is just your newly acquired geezer status, but Charlie, ladies and gentlemen, people of the
I
jury,
forgot a whole
Charlie
segment.
was very, very much gonna steamroll and take you past
It's a very good track.
going on in US comics. And I am not, I'm the loving brother. I'm the one with the scarf. You understand? I
true.
won't let him do that to you. I don't care about Charlentine's Day after the fact. Guys, this week in US comics, there is the haps, as they like to say. Now, granted, they say the best things in life are free, but this ain't one of them. This is some goody good stuff, but it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you a little effort. And Charlie, this is going to be actually news to you. So maybe for once, pay attention when I'm talking on the show. We have no fewer than 100 rubber-backed ceramic laser cut Griffin pins headed our way right now as we speak. 100 pins for your Goonie Google selves that you cannot get as a gift. It's not Christmas. It's not Hanukkah. It's not even Charlentine's Day anymore. It is US Comics Day. So, in order to earn yourself a 1 1/4 inch by 1 1/4 inch Griffin pin, die cut, the whole Griffin shape, the whole 9 yards, it's going to require you to like and share our next post on Instagram, on Facebook. You can mail it to your Aunt Tilly. I don't care how you do it. If you like it and you share it, DM me and I will mail you a beautiful, brand new Griffin pin for your bubbling lips to kiss at night. Oh, even though he's got the beak, still such a good kisser. And he flies away in the morning. So no embarrassing conversation, no breakfast talk. You're like, oh, where are we going with this? Where you are in your life? None of that stuff. So earn yourself a Griffin pin. Get to work. That's the haps in US Comics. Charlie, wrap it up, son.
I love it, and I'm also. Can I get one of those pins if I?
You know what you got to do. Nothing in life is free, bro.
Fair enough. For my brother, the CEO and co-founder of US Comics, I, of course, am the other co-founder and COO of US Comics. We are the Brothers Rivera, and at least John might be a little bit better than you, but there is only one way that we leave this show week after week, right here on YouTube, right here on Facebook, right here on any format you can find a podcast. US Comics HQ is all of our social media. US Comics Cast is how you find the show. But my brother,
Word.
Now they know where to find us. They know where to find that post to like and retweet. Tell them, John, how do we end the show?
It's real simple, suckers. Pay attention. First, you gotta turn the power on. Then you gotta turn the volume up. Then you gotta tune Bad Mary in and open up the window wide and scream out into the night. Save me, Space Girl. We out. Kiss the ring.
In a cocktail bar when I met you, I picked you out, I shook you up and turned you around, turn you into someone new. Now 5 years later and you've got the world at your feet. Success has been so easy for you, but don't